Hey everyone. So, mm, let's start with the prayers and share them. In the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha mode excellent, I take refuge until enlightenment is reached. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. In the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha most excellent, I take refuge until enlightenment is reached. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. In the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha most excellent, I take refuge until enlightenment is reached. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. And then the four immeasurables. May all beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be set free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the supreme happiness, which is without suffering, and may they remain in the boundaries of equanimity, free from both attachment to close ones and rejection of others. May all beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be set free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the supreme happiness, which is without suffering, and may they remain in the boundless equanimity, free from both attachment to close ones and rejection of others. May all beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be set free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the supreme happiness, which is without suffering. May they remain in the boundless equanimity, free from both attachment to close ones and rejection of others. Welcome again to this review/discussion session. If you don't mind, I would do the same like yesterday. We could go through the transcript of yesterday and then we discuss topic by topic. But if you have anything else to discuss, things that have not been covered by Rinpoche yesterday, then we could start with that, For example, if something was unclear what I explained last session, we can discuss on that or, yeah. Okay, then let's go through the notes from yesterday. I already transcribed it. It's not like I uploaded it already yesterday, but it's not, I might improve the English and I also will put it more in the general outline. But I thought I uploaded nevertheless so that you can have a look. And I will share it here. Also, look at this. So Rinpoche started to mention that we need this twofold attitude or motivation, right? When we, and I already see typos here, when we do, yeah, especially if we approach any Vajrayana teachings, and so the twofold necessary condition that it's working, that we really get the Vajrayana teachings, or in this context, that we really get the blessing by the Buddha, we then need these two. We need the vast Sutrayana method or motivation, and we need the vast Vajrayana method. So the vast Sutrayana method is Bodhicitta, and that will be explained soon. And does somebody remember what the vast Vajrayana method is? That we always should have when we approach Vajrayana teachings?
Pure view?
Yes, that is definitely the essential answer. And can you divide that more? There's a fivefold division of pure view or pure perception. Any takers? Okay, so it's like, you know, those 5 certainties of Sambhogakaya? Does that ring a bell? Okay, Carmen is nodding, and since we heard her already, I'm sure she's at least getting 3 out of 5.
No. I was just learning the path of joining, not that one.
Why would you do that?
My mind is still somewhere else. I'm sorry.
Okay, anyone else? Thank you. But again, pure perception or sacred outlook, how Trungpa Rinpoche was mentioning, that is definitely the right answer. That is the Vajrayana method, you know, that we renounce ordinary perception, but see everything as pure. And it feels like Birger will elaborate what that means.
Yeah, so if it's about the 5 certainties, then we look at the purity of the teacher, the purity of the teaching, the purity of the audience or the retinue of the teacher, the purity of the place where the teaching takes place, and the purity of the time when the teaching takes place.
Yes. Yeah, then, and these 5 are basically including everything, you know, that could take place. Yeah, so basically, yeah, we have a pure perception of all these elements. And I think in the very first teaching, like in the first year, Rinpoche was also saying that yeah, that also helps us to be harmonious with each other, you know, and not be competitive and not complain, oh, it's just a Zoom thing. But it helps to yeah, have a positive outlook in regards to yeah, each other and the whole thing, and of course the teacher and the topic. And yeah, the more positive we are, or more pure we see things, yeah, that the more open we are, and the more these teachings will really like touch our hearts, right? And do something in us, you know? But if we just have an ordinary perception, then yeah, our openness is sort of limited, you know, like, or the readiness to be impacted by the teaching is limited. So it's really for our own sake, you know, it's a good training to be like a very open vessel, you know, that wants to understand stuff. Pitta. And we can hear you better with a mic on.
Okay, now this brings me to a question about the meaning of the word Tantra. Is it also referring to a connection on a deeper level? Because if you refer to the purity of, for example, the Vajra siblings, that there is on a deeper level a continuity in this Tantra because of the continuity in the more subtle levels of consciousness.
The continuity usually is like talked in regard to one individual, like me being samsaric now and my nature still being always being pure, but that this nature continues until I realize it as a Buddha. But it's not so much between 2 different individuals.
Okay, that's too far. Okay.
No, but of course we are not independent of each other, right? We are connected, interconnected, and by trying to train in this purity or perfection of the entourage, you know, the one of these 5, like that is us basically in this context, Then, of course, we are inspiring each other. We are like a conducive condition for each other to realize our own nature. So there is a back and forth, but more like a condition to each other, but not like a causal continuum.
Okay, thank you.
So we are like we are all have our Buddha nature as the seed, let's say, that we put in the soil, but then we are to each other, we are like the soil or the water or the sun and so on. Yeah. Ideally. Okay. Anything else to this pure perception, the vast skillful means of Vajrayana? And as you see, you know, Vajrayana, for those who studied Yönten Rinpoche's Tzu, the precious treasure, the treasury of precious qualities by Jigme Lingpa. What did I want to say? I forgot. So strange. Yeah, it's a resultant vehicle again, you know, like if we you know, in the beginning, Jigme Lingpa was explaining the different terms, mantrayana, what that is it, you know, vajrayana, tantrayana, the resultant vehicle, the vehicle of Vidyadharas. I think these were the terms he was using. Yeah, and so resultant vehicle is the Vajrayana. So that is again shown that before we do anything, you know, that we already are aware of this fivefold purity or fivefold perfection. So we already bring the result even before we actually start, you know. So it's really like the resultant vehicle, you know, that we practice in Vajrayana. The result is already here, you know, we see already each other like deities. Of course, Rinpoche also we see as a deity, the teaching we see as perfect. Dzogchen, it's beyond time and place and so on. Okay, doc. And then Rinpoche was then focusing a lot, which is wonderful, on bodhicitta. This is, yeah, I just called it the importance of bodhicitta. Yeah, we don't have to read through it, but yeah, so he mentioned many things, you know, like, and what struck me was like, yeah, this example, maybe just stop sharing that example, you know, that when we go to a Dharma market, you know, then, you know, we can get so many different things, you know, like, and many things sound very impressive, right? Like Dzogchen, 5 wisdoms and so on, 3 kayas. And he said we should really like focus on getting bodhicitta, you know, because that is the main thing. And one thing I liked also in this, he said, yeah, if we have let's say, if we buy the 5 wisdoms but don't have bodhicitta, that will really not be of much benefit. Whereas if we buy bodhicitta, if we get bodhicitta from the Dharma market, then everything else we will get through bodhicitta, you know, like little by little. So I found this is a very was a very great way to explain it, you know, like usually we have like buy one, get one free. But here's like, yeah, we could buy one and get everything free, right? It's a good package deal. And yeah, I was very happy to hear that, because with some friends I was talking recently a lot about bodhicitta and how much it is yeah, not emphasized often because it's so easy to understand. So that is, so it's, one cannot really talk much. I mean, one doesn't need to talk much about it. It's sort of easy, and yeah, we might get bored, you know, if we hear it again and again. We might think also there's something wrong with the Lama, that he or she is so repetitive, talking about the same thing. Yeah, so it's often that one is skipping over it, you know, because yeah, of course it's not difficult to understand, you know, like intellectually, but then to really practice it or realize it, it's a totally other ball game, you know. I don't know if you remember, I think most of you also studied Bodhisattva, right? With Turku in the first chapter, like verse 5, you know, there's also Shantideva is saying, yeah, like like a flash of lightning, you know, in a very dark night, you know, that then for an instant illuminates everything, like as rare, you know, that we have this, you know, like that we can see things as rare as bodhicitta in our minds, you know, like, so it is, even though, yeah, let's say we all totally know intellectually what bodhicitta is, and it, again, it's easy to understand it, but then to really have it like in our heart and really live by it is quite a different thing. And yeah, so that was, I liked it a lot that Rinpoche was starting with bodhicitta. Is there anything you want to discuss on bodhicitta? Also, he was like, he was emphasizing that just the, how was he putting it? That just that we have the possibility to have bodhicitta, you know, or understand it and appreciate it. This is already very precious. Yeah, and this is like not from a textbook, but I guess one could say like the precious human life, you know, if you want to put it like that, you know, one could say, yeah, it's the ability to practice bodhicitta, you know, like in a sense. Yes, Martina.
Yes, hello all. I like to
Hello,
know.
all.
Yeah, why not? Uh, I like to know. Do you know, Arne, on which bhumi bodhisattva is free from karma? Because I learn for the examination. Can you say this? Because I don't know. I think in the first, maybe, or in the 10th.
I think I would say first. What would others say? There are still tendencies left, you know, that um, needs to be tackled. But I think since the bodhisattva is always like in a lucid dream state, it's not really impacting him, you know. It's more like exhausting the last tendencies, but the bodhisattva is not really like fully suffering the consequences of it. How is it on the path of joining, Carmen? Now you don't have any excuse.
There was nothing written about karma. No, but I think so when you're on the first bhumi, then you should be out of the going back to samsara, out of karma and klesha.
Yeah.
But you still have like these traces, like habitual tendencies, and these are then purified on the other bhumis.
So you're saying exactly the same like me, right? So that then it must be right. No, I'm not saying it's no, it's a good thing, but yeah.
Yeah, I think, but this is just my thoughts. It's not not the ultimate truth.
No, but I honestly think like that too. Yeah. You know, it's like the main karma is removed, you know, let's say the onion is removed, but still you have the smell of the onion, you know. Any other ideas? But yeah, on the first bhumi, one is out of samsara, definitely. One sees emptiness, and but in meditation on the bhumis, yeah, one is totally in abiding in emptiness. Yeah, and in post meditation, there is still some ripening of stuff. What I said, you know, like on Carmen, you know, but there's so much awareness of the bodhisattva, so that whatever is ripening, you know, one is not making a big deal out of it or not getting attached to it, but it's like this lucid dream kind of thing. So things still appear, but they are immediately, that's the thing, you know, immediately seen to be not truly existent, you know, and so immediately there's not a clinging to them, you know. So therefore, these last karmic appearances, they just like exhaust themselves because you don't create new stuff, you know. That's how I think it is. Martina, you have
Now,
something?
Arne, again, I have, I think I got it. And thank you so much for your vast and extended declarations, because now I got it and you speak more slow and I'm just a little faster in thinking. Thank you, Arne.
I'm only speaking slow because I didn't sleep much last night. There you go. So I'm hardly having two thoughts connecting in my brain. Joking. Okay, good. Anything about bodhicitta? Okay, doke, then. Maria Teresa.
I would like to follow it, the question for the isms about the bodhicitta. For example, when you say that there is the good rebirth, human rebirth, it's true, but in the question there is how is it I don't know in English, but the answer is human being, gods, and semi-gods, and underwater, a lot of them. So if we follow the question is better, in my opinion. To review for the isms about bodhicitta, because the questions are very selected. For example, who is one answer is semidei, God, something like that. The other answer is if you have done the Vov for in seven way of difference. So if you remind us all of this is better.
Better than?
It's almost the opposite, the answer for the question about the good rebirth, human rebirth, because who has the characteristic to could become bodhisattva are a lot of more. So it's better follow the question of for the isms, in my opinion.
I'm not sure if I understood everything. Carmen, you wanted to say?
Allora, my question for you are the same question for the isms. Thank you very much about the bodhicitta. This is very simple.
Carmen, you wanted to say something?
No, I just want to summarize for you what I understood. I think what Maria Teresa meant is that Longchen, in the chapter of bodhicitta, you know, it's about who has the physical and
Yes.
mental foundation, and there it's including a lot more in the philosophy of the Madhyamika. So we have the gods, and you know, like basically everyone can arouse bodhicitta. And I think what Maria Teresa meant is that this is a lot more and it's vaster than if you say just the precious human life with the 18.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Nevertheless, in Vajrayana, yeah, but still the humans are like emphasized also because of their body, even, you know, like we didn't cover that yet. Maybe in Jigme text a little bit, you know, that we have this that also like how our subtle body with the nadis, pranas, and bindus is designed. Sort of this is also very helpful for bodhicitta. but yeah, Madhyamika is so open. That's so cool in Longchenpa's text, that they say, yeah, everybody can do it. And and that's great. Yeah. And also bodhicitta implies, for example, like if you're a bodhisattva, that you also intentionally appear as a hell being, right? Full of bodhicitta and helping beings in hell, So that is also definitely every form of existence is good enough to have bodhicitta, definitely. It's good enough and it's possible, but as a human, it's even more conducive. I would not change that, At least that is what they teach to the human people, That could be very anthropomorphic, but yeah.
Sono le ore 15.
The other question are about understanding the nature of bodhicitta. What is the foundation of bodhicitta? First one. Second, formally arousing bodhicitta. Third, bodhicitta training detail analysis. These three for the moment.
Yes. Yeah, so bodhicitta is not something that's just like a small wish, I want my neighbor to be happy, but it's really like you wish that everybody attains Buddhahood, And for that sake, you also want to attain Buddhahood. And that is a relative bodhicitta, and that a Buddha cannot have because a Buddha is already Buddha. But there's a big debate on that. But then also it is like the understanding and realization of emptiness. So it's a big thing. Yes, Birger, you wanted to say something.
Yeah, I just wanted to add on the previous discussion. Yeah, if we are probably all of us preparing for the exam, we need to be mindful that what we've just mentioned about bodhicitta is the Madhyamaka position, and Chittamatra has a different position and posits that only humans can arouse bodhicitta. That is point one. And the other thing is, that is why I had to laugh a little bit, I mean, we are humans,
Yes.
so we can
Speak for yourself, my dear. You never know, really.
We never know, yes. Okay, I perceive all of you as humans.
That is acceptable.
And those of us who are humans can rejoice in these 18 qualities of the human body, and really, the way I see it, whether other beings can also arouse bodhicitta is more of an academic question. Yeah, for our practice, the important point is that we can do it.
Yes. Nevertheless, for me also, it's not only academic, but that is just my personal answer, like for me, it opens my mind, that I think, okay, everybody can do it, so that for me helps me to understand, yes, everybody is precious and everybody, if having the right support, can also do it. So for me, that is nice, and it takes away a little bit the speciesism, like being only human-centric, like, yeah.
I agree. I have that feeling also. If considering that gives me more appreciation of other life forms like animals, and
Yeah.
so on. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I think like there's still like, I think it's not. I think there's so many debates if animals are sentient beings or not. Like nowadays still. I think dolphins in some countries are accepted to be sentient. But it's like, for Buddhists, it's very clear. Yes, of course they all have mind. But it's not like, I think the majority of humans might not even think like that still. Mm. And also what Nagarjuna said, yeah.
The difference is now that when that if you do bodhisattva and so to arise bodhicitta, what is the difference between the two main school of Mahayana? And he answered about it. But before there is the answer of Carmen, after there is the answer of him. What do you say about Robert, Human Robert, is in Shantideva, but he's refer when you take the vow of bodhisattva, not just like inspiration, but with your determination to follow to agire, to your what do you do, what do you think, everything about the bodhisattva in the same moment that you take the vow. I don't remember in English the right word. I go around. But this is in Shantideva, what you say, but not in Longchen. In Longchen, there is in another page this about Shantideva verses about the human rebirth. I'm sorry, my English is this way.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I totally understood. There was also like a lot of internet fluctuation. Maybe Maria Teresa, could you write that message? Maybe that would be helpful than in English. I heard a little bit like the question about the difference.
Explain.
Okay, Maria, please don't talk. It's so difficult to hear with your internet. Yeah. Okay, let's try. And Maria Teresa, if you have something, maybe just write it in the chat. That would be the best. I just wanted to say one thing. I think you asked about the difference between Madhyamika and Chittamatra or Yogacara approach to bodhicitta. Usually, like in Madhyamika approach, you know, that before you take bodhicitta, the teacher is asking you, it's not asking you, but is practicing like the 7 branches with you. You know, we studied them. Offering prostration, confession, rejoicing, requesting to turn the wheel of Dharma, requesting not to pass into nirvana, and dedication. And in Yogacara or Chittamatra approach, not all of them are practiced, but more like prostration and offering. And then there is more like an exploration if one has obstacles, you know, like, are you really interested? Did you understand the teachings on bodhicitta, you know? Did you make them aspirations? Those kind of thing. And then in the main liturgy, then in Madhyamika we do it like Shantideva is doing it. You know, we take bodhicitta of aspiration and bodhicitta of action at the same time. So we are saying, yeah, from now on, I follow the footsteps of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas and try myself gradually, step by step. And Chittamatra or Yogacara is doing it like separately. They do first the aspiring bodhicitta, and then the student is asked to study a lot in between, and then later the action bodhicitta. And then also the conclusion of the ceremony is usually different. You know, that what we know also from Shantideva in Madhyamika's context is that we are really rejoicing, and we are asking others to rejoice in this now. You know, now our life makes sense. You know, Shantideva is saying, I've been born in the family of the Buddhas, and so on. So that is the Madhyamika approach. It's really like a celebration afterwards. And in Yogacara, that is not that much. You know, there's just a small request, you know, that this is now happened, that this has happened, and that this is acknowledged. Yeah, and there are other differences, but this is sort of the main thing. And you're asking to go through each single question about bodhicitta. Maybe let's do that tomorrow. Because I also have to look it up, you know, where I have to find the questions and everything. And one thing, Kanto Rinpoche once said that, you know, like for Nagarjuna, which is like the Madhyamika Bodhicitta tradition, he was asked, okay, who is able to develop bodhicitta? We know, like what Maria Theresa and Birger discussed, you know, like in Longchen Shedra, like all other sentient beings are sort of included. For Nagarjuna, it was like that. He said, like, if you do like this, please look at the cup. Then the beings who really look at the cup, you know, and see the finger as pointing to the cup only, but really end up with looking at the cup, they are suitable vessels to understand bodhicitta. But those who are stuck with the finger, they are not. That was Nagarjuna's answer. He was, of course, talking about finger and the moon, but I think it's similar. Okay, doke. Okay, so tomorrow we go through some bodhicitta questions of the exam. Today, let's continue with what Rinpoche taught yesterday, so that we are up to speed with him and understand what he's saying today. So the next one is generation stage, and here in bold, I don't know why this is not here, in blue now even, is the explanation or the definition of generation stage, you know? It's a little bit similar to what we had discussed yesterday and what we had already earlier. Yeah, it's basically, yeah, it's the same. So the generation stage is the contrived yoga, which is following the extraordinary truth of purity, equality, and inseparability. So contrived yoga is one aspect, and then the other one is that it is based on the ground tantras, you know, which teach the extraordinary truth of purity, equality, and inseparability. So let me try something. Let's see if that works. Oh yeah, don't we have a like a whiteboard here or something? Yes, here. Let's see, I've never used it. Maybe it's stupid to do that now, but let's look at this and look at this. Oh, why so many things happening here? There were so many things suddenly. Okay, now I don't have the option. Here. Okay, let's try again. So we have one and another one. Sorry, there's so many things popping up. That's why I cannot really. Okay, but you see these two overlapping circles, right? So let's say in this circle, this is like contrived yogas. And here is yogas that are following the oh, this is so annoying. There's so many things popping up. Base tantras, okay? This should be a B and a T. Okay, amazing. So, and then we have the middle thing, the overlap. and I would love to write a K in it. Let's see if that works. Oh, gosh. So please don't get too annoyed by all that here. So if we look into this left circle, contrived yogas, that could be, as Rinpoche said yesterday, that could be yoga on impermanence, for example. We contemplate on impermanence. That would count as a contrived yoga. Okay. And then we have this other one here, yogas that are based on the ground tantras. So that could, so where we're talking about purity, equality, and inseparability. So this is the second circle here. So that could be also like completion phase, right? That is also a yoga that is based on the ground tantras. But then the only thing that is doing both is being contrived, and we will talk later about what that means, and being based on the ground tantras. This is only the Kierim, the generation stage phase. Does that make sense? I just wanted to show, that there are options. So there's a definition about generation stage that has two parts. It's contrived, that's one part, and it's the foundation of it is the ground tantra. So because it has two parts, therefore you can sort of paint two circles and then see, okay, what other contrived yogas we have, and yeah, we can whatever, contemplation on suffering, contemplation on the precious human life, all of that we can say is a contrived practice. And then the other circle, something that is based on the ground tantra, is, for example, generation stage, but can also be completion stage. So but the completion stage would be uncontrived usually. So therefore, completion stage would be on this in this circle, but not in the overlapping part. But generation stage is like home in both. It's a common locus of both these characteristics, being contrived and being based on the ground tantra. Okay, Peter.
Thank you. I was a little bit lost with the meaning of the word ground tantras, because that's so basic.
Yeah, it's or basis tantra. This is what Turko explained earlier, like in other teachings. Here, what is the basis tantra? It is the view or philosophy of Guhyagarbha Tantra. So it's the view, So the view that the extraordinary view, we can say that everything is pure, everything is equal by nature, and that these two aspects are inseparable. So that is the basis tantra, or the ground, or the view.
Okay, so it's the view. It's not a set of tantras.
Yes.
Some texts or sadhanas or whatever, but it's about the view, more general view then.
Yes, it's better to understand like that. Yes.
Okay.
It's, let's say, the basis of tantra, we could maybe better say, or the view of tantra, especially the Guhyagarbha Tantra. There might be other tantras who explain, who have a little bit different view or different philosophy. Yeah. Birger?
I struggle a little bit with the terminology. Contrived and uncontrived is
this we will come to.
Was not part of my vocabulary. Just one quick question. We in other contexts we have labored and unlabored, like labored bodhicitta and unlabored bodhicitta, and that is Tibetan tsulme and tsulche. Is this the same, or is this contrived, uncontrived, a different vocabulary?
It's a different vocabulary. It's like chö. It's but not chö like Dharma, in case you have heard it. But it is this one. I put it in. This is the Wiley version. Chos. So that means like contriving, or yes. And so then either you say it and then the whole word is like, so if you pronounce it, it's like chema is like, that is just the adjective of contrived. I will write that. And then if you, so the ma is just sort of part of the adjective. But if you add a negation, you do that in front, and then it becomes mature, and that is uncontrived. Mm.
Thanks a lot.
But let's have a look into how Rinpoche was explaining it yesterday. Let's see. So we had this definition and this weird Venn diagram, what I just tried. Yeah, he was here, he was explaining that, like, there can be contrived yogas that are not following the view of the Tantra, let's say. Okay, and then, so he's going into contrived. And then remember, he was talking about these 5 experiences. That's what they're usually called. I put also the Tibetan terms, at least how they are pronounced in it. And it's basically, it's a very turbulent mind state, and it becomes a very still and unshakable, unmovable mind state. That is the idea, 1 to 5, waterfall, then going through a narrow gorge or canyon, the water is still super turbulent and not at all smooth, but it's already better than the waterfall. And then it's more like a bigger stream with ripples on it, so it's getting more stable. And then it's like the still ocean or the placid ocean, is number 4. And then in the end, it's like it is the last one. Then it's even compared to a mountain. I think to make sure that there's also no undercurrent movement, like in the ocean, even though there's no waves, it can still be an undercurrent movement. But in the last stage, this is not the case. So this is a very classical shamatha thing, like these 5 stages. And Rinpoche is using these, was using these yesterday to explain, what is contrived and what is uncontrived. And basically, he was saying that these first 4, if you're still in one of these first 4, then your mind is contrived, and therefore whatever you practice will be contrived, even if you use completion stage practices. That was a discussion yesterday between Birger and Rinpoche, if you remember. Birger asked something, and then Rinpoche answered, and then Rinpoche was laying down, and Birger had to repeat the answer. That was so sweet. And the laying down. And so that was the context, right? So basically the idea is very easy, like if I would dare, I would draw another circle stuff, but just, these 5 experiences, this is sort of the mind, just remember that, or the mental state, and so these the mental state is either 1, 2, 3, 4, then it's a contrived thing, or it is uncontrived when it's so stable like a mountain, the one that I didn't mark. And this sort of determines if the practice you are doing is contrived or uncontrived. Very easy, like let's say instead of contrived and uncontrived, let's say angry and compassionate, like what if I'm angry, then whatever I do, whatever I say or act, this will be influenced by anger, so and if I'm in the last state, let's say like very loving, then whatever I do with that mental state, it will be a very loving physical or verbal expression. So therefore, so that was Rinpoche's main point yesterday. Even though generation stage usually is said to be contrived, and even though completion stage is usually said to be uncontrived, but that is a very rough understanding. The main thing is to understand which mind state you have behind it. And if your mind state is contrived, then no matter what you do, generation stage or completion stage, that will be a contrived yoga. But if your mindset is uncontrived, meaning in the fifth level here, then no matter what you do, generation stage or completion stage, it will be uncontrived yoga. That was really the main thing. So it really depends on your mind or your mental ability or state of being contrived or not. That determines if your yoga practice is contrived or not. Did you get that?
Anna,
Yes.
sorry,
Stephanie?
I need to ask about
Don't be
this.
sorry.
I'm a bit slow. So, about this Zokrim and Kirim and Zokrim. I think so.
Yes.
The thing is that my perception of this is actually when you start a sadhana visualization, generation stage is like you visualize lotus and everything start coming out. This visualization is considered, for me, is generation stage, and it slowly progress until completion state is like absorption. So like what you say, I understand you say like once is a mindset, if it's contrived, and throughout it will still be contrived, be it generation or completion. Let's say uncontrived is the same in generation and completion. But I'm a bit is union, but I don't understand how come yesterday Rinpoche said I'm a bit confused, so I don't know how to ask the question. He was saying uncontrived and then ending with contrived, ending with uncontrived. So maybe can you help me on this?
Yes. While you were speaking, I was trying to create a chart. Let's see.
Do you understand what I mean?
Yes, I think so. Let's see. Okay, let's see. So that is basically what Rinpoche was talking about yesterday. So this is your mindset. And then there comes the practice you're doing. And then we can say what kind of yoga it is. I hope it is not too more confusing, but basically it's easy to see, that the mindset is exactly the same as the yoga. Like if you do like a very conceptual, effortful, contrived Kirin practice, then that will be it will be called an effortful, conceptual, dualistic, contrived yoga. If you have the same mindset and do a Tsokram practice, then it's still called a effortful, whatever, conceptual yoga, because your mindset is like that. Whereas if you are like on level 5 of these experience, this here, and do a very like totally uncontrived with a totally stable mind, and then no matter if you practice Kirim or if you practice Tsokrim, the yoga will be called uncontrived. Did you get that?
Am
That
I
is
right to say that? Sorry.
Sorry,
Please
say it again.
The means contrived is I'm making a lot of effort in my visualization and stabling my mind. Uncontrived is it comes naturally, everything can pop up, or that means it becomes like I'm inside the picture.
Yes, and it's like very like in yesterday's Rinpoche's example, it means like your mind is totally stable without any conceptual fluctuations, like a mountain, So this is like experience 1 to 4 means this is the same, for Rinpoche, contrived, and here experience 5 and experience 5, stable. Yeah, but that is usually what you just said. This is also how I heard usually talking about contrived. It's like, yeah, we do effort, we are conceptual, we are dualistic and stuff. And yeah, that makes our mind so moving, you know, and so turbulent. And Rinpoche is sort of focusing on this turbulent thing as giving it sort of like a synonym to like a, for him, turbulent, how you explained yesterday, is sort of the same as contrived, you know, in this sense. And if the mind is totally stable, that is the same as being uncontrived.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, and yeah, and in the end, it is really the mindset that determines if the yoga is contrived or uncontrived. You know, it's the same like in Sutrayana. You know, like what I mentioned earlier with anger or love. You know, but the main thing is, it always depends. We know that from Sutrayana, right? It depends on our motivation if the action is good or bad. You know, a good motivation makes a good action, and a bad motivation makes a bad action. You know, and it doesn't matter so much what action that is. You know, so likewise here also. You know, contrived or uncontrived motivation or mindset creates a contrived or uncontrived yoga, no matter what practice you do. You know, it's very similar. Does it make sense or? Peter was having a very virtual thumbs up. That was funny. Oh, wait, how to do that? I don't even know. Here, send with effect. Look at this. So, yeah, that was really like, that was the main discussion yesterday. So, I think there's 5 experiences, usually experience of shamatha, but Rinpoche, as I said, use it for to explain contrived and uncontrived. I think it's very clear, you know, the mind is totally turbulent and then becomes less and less turbulent, more and more still. And then at the end, like a mountain. But yeah, that should not be misunderstood. Like mountain here is only to show it's like unmoving and it's stable, you know, it doesn't mean solid, because at the same time, because it's so unmoving and stable, it is totally flexible, you know, and it's totally maneuverable, you know. I'm sure you have heard the term pliancy, you know, is sort of the same, but mountain here that doesn't, yeah, seems too solid and too in that sense too inflexible, but that is not meant with that. And then maybe I'll just share the script again. Yeah, and then then this is the whole discussion here. Yeah, here's also Rinpoche was using force and forceless, you know, as being parameters of contrived or uncontrived. But again, force creates these turbulences, and forcelessness makes it very like non-turbulent, the mind. And then here it gave this. Then he a little bit talked about the 3 samadhis, but that could be confusing. But of course, his point was like that even within generation stage, right? We create the deity, right? This is, I'm talking about this here. You know, when you practice the generation stage, you practice the 3 samadhis. The samadhi of suchness, you know, where we remember that everything is empty by nature. Then we usually also recite the mantra of emptiness, right? And then it's not mere emptiness, but there's luminosity, you know, this illuminating samadhi, you know. So it's not just a blank stage, but there is something, qualities, luminosity, awareness. And then the causal samadhi, the seed syllable, is formed out of that, and from that the deity arises, you know. So this is the process how we usually faster or shorter, shorter or longer, create the deity, the three samadhis. Rinpoche has taught about that in a couple of contexts. But the first samadhi, one could argue, one is resting in emptiness, right? And that has to be uncontrived usually, like ideally, if you're really like in the nature of emptiness, you're in the true nature of things, and that could be understood as being an uncontrived part, But here again, one could argue, yeah, it depends on how we are really realizing or abiding in emptiness, if I'm not fully doing it, but if I still have conceptual thoughts or misunderstandings or intellectual understanding, then I'm not really resting in emptiness, but it's still a contrived thing, I'm contriving emptiness, but only if I'm really like really abiding in it, which means also then it's not like me abiding in it, but it's just this is all dissolved, then it's uncontrived. So it's the same logic, it always depends on the mindset. I think Stephanie said that word, and that determines, if we call that practice uncontrived or contrived. And then, yeah, I think that's basically was that. Just looking at this script. And by that also, Rinpoche is saying that they become also more and more in union, these two different practices, generation stage and completion stage. They are sort of become not different because they don't determine how our practice really is, but it's in the end it falls back to our mind state, our mindset. That is always the main thing. Yeah. Is there anything you want to discuss on that part? Okay, and then Rinpoche concluded that he's asking us for two gifts, remember? So when he's concluding this fourth year, he wants two presents from us. One is that we are like having good motivation, I guess, bodhicitta, right, to teach others. Really, with bodhicitta, nothing can go wrong. And then I didn't know how to phrase it, but basically he's asking us not to be sad, If Rinpoche is not satisfied with what we do, and then he's asking us not to teach now, but do it at a later time, So yeah, so he wants us to have the willingness to then give back, what we have learned, to share that with others. But also, yeah, maybe don't identify too much with it. And then he concluded, remember when reciting the mantra of the 48 and 42 deities, and I put a footnote here that yesterday I also shared it in the chat. There's by Tsongtse Khyentse Shukuluchu, there's like a short explanation of the mantra. Wait, I can also show it to you. And then the mantra is, of course, mentioned. And why Rinpoche was reciting that is, what I discussed with Birger in the session before, right? Birger asked if there's a specific deity connected to Goya-Gaba Tantra. And one is usually saying it's the Shedra, the 100 peaceful and wrathful deities, right? So so this is in the transcript, the footnote. So here, like Jam Khyentse Shukuluchu is explaining the mantra here, Om Ahom Hri Bodhicitta Mahasuka Shnana Datu A, continuing here, Om Rulu Rulu Hum Jo, and then maybe Hum Ho also, and then he's explaining each syllable. This is not what Rinpoche is expecting us to know, but I thought maybe you are interested in the mantra that Rinpoche basically recited, and if you want to know what it means, you could know. Yeah.
Oh no. For the mantra, is it oral transmission? Because I think he chant a few times. So I have no idea whether it's oral transmission. And are we able to do this chanting if, let's say, for someone that passed away recently, are we able to do that?
Yeah, I'm more on that side. Like, so there's always a big. You are asking basically what is the difference between him reciting a mantra just like that, or him reciting the mantra as a oral transmission? How do is there a difference, and why should there be a difference? Is it maybe like earlier, like his motivation counts? But I heard different things, but I heard many masters saying, yeah, of course, when I'm reciting it, that is an oral transmission. I don't know what Dolpo Toku is thinking about that. But I feel yes, when we studied Yonten Rinpoche, he was always reading the root verse in Tibetan and then explaining it, I remember in Switzerland, and then somebody like in the second year asked for the lung, and he said, I'm giving it like every day, I give you the lung in the verses. But we could ask him, we could just ask him to give us the lung if you want, it's like, it takes him 20 seconds, for the mantra, yeah.
But he's always saying it like you just explain it. When he's teaching, and then always people ask for the lung, and he's always saying, no, I'm giving it all the time. So you just hear the teaching, and then you have the lung.
Yeah. So I guess that counts also for the mantra, yeah. Because you heard it from him, and yeah.
Anna, does this mean that we can start to practice the 100 teachings? Because
Yes,
because you're saying that he's giving wrong, you see. So like Dopo Campbell always says that we don't have empowerment. That's why like when he start to do this sadhana, he normally asks us to recite some other mantra. So right now, since like you're saying that Tuku is giving long, so which means
for the mantra, only for the mantra. That's how I would see it. Stephanie was only asking for the mantra. It's not like for everything here.
But he's also explaining some of it, right? By the time when he finished explaining the 100 deities, does that mean we can?
No, for them to practice the sadhana, then empowerment is definitely necessary, the Shedra empowerment.
Okay.
Yeah. No, he's really giving, like, let's say the mantra is this small finger or whatever finger, or let's say index finger. And so, yes, this we can practice, I would say, this mantra, but he didn't give all the other things, of the whole sadhana, But I know some people, some masters, they say you should not even study Guhyagarbha Tantra without having received the empowerment of Shedra, the peaceful and wrathful deities. That also, like, I know that Khenchen Pema Sherpa Rinpoche, one of his teachers, is usually asking us to have that empowerment first, also before studying Jigme Lingpa's text. But yeah, others, but I know also other masters who is not asking for that, but they're asking us to have a basic understanding of Vajrayana at least, and maybe have done some Nandro practice. So it's very different from teacher to teacher, and there's not one better than the other, like as long as there's some requirement. And of course, Rinpoche 100% has a requirement too, that we have studied the first 3 years, and he knows all of us personally, so he doesn't even have to ask us if we have the requirements, because we know what we have done, with him. So yeah. Okay, I think I'm running out of topics. For tomorrow, yeah, as Maria Teresa asked for, we can go also a little bit into the Bodhicitta questions for the exam, which makes sense because Rinpoche was so nicely emphasizing Bodhicitta. Apart from that, yeah, I would like to tomorrow to review again the teaching that will happen today. Yeah. Because, Carmen, if I'm not mistaken, right, this will go on, right? We will like conclude the 4th year maybe next spring or whenever, right? So we will have more teaching. So I think it's good to always discuss in between.
Yes, it will continue until I don't know when.
Yes, yes. I don't mind if he's adding some extra years, you know, because we are all so handsome and beautiful. So why not add a 5th year, you know?
No, I don't think he will add a 5th year, but
Yeah.
he wants to come to Europe next summer.
Nice.
But he just said summer and he cannot say it more precise at the moment. And then he wants us to come personally to retreat in Shantavana and, you know, conclude
Yeah,
whole thing there.
very nice.
Unfortunately, I cannot tell you more details about the timing.
No, it's fine. No, but yeah, but my main thing was like, yeah, so it's not ending tomorrow, you know, that's the thing, you know, but there will be, I guess, monthly or even more often sometimes teachings, you know, so therefore that was only the reason why it's also good that we have time to discuss on it, so that yeah, we are up to speed with Rinpoche. Okay, shall we conclude here? And maybe with some prayers. Da-da-dum. Oh, it's so small. Okay. And basically dedication is the same as bodhicitta, right? It's the same motivation, but just now we have gathered something positive, you know, and now it's not empty words, but now we are really giving that to others, you know, all the good energy, the good vibes, the enlightened things, you know. And this we don't keep for ourselves, but we share with others. So that is bodhicitta in action, sort of, you know. By this merit, may all attain omniscience, may it defeat the enemy of wrongdoing. From the stormy waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death, from the ocean of samsara, may all beings set free. O precious and sublime bodhicitta, may it arise in those in whom it has not arisen. May it never decline where it has arisen, but go on increasing further and further. Om Swasti, by the power of the 3 jewels and the 3 roots, may the lifespan of the supreme emanation organ showing Yeshe be long and firm. May he achieve the highest Dharma, Vajra, wisdom, enlightenment, and accomplish the great actions for the Dharma and all sentient beings. Okay. Thank you guys for being active, interactive. And yeah, please, everybody, feel always be invited to discuss, you know. Don't be shy. There's no stupid question. There will be only a stupid answer from me. So please don't feel shy, okay? Then see you in 45 minutes, right? Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.